विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अखण्ड मण्डलाकारं या प्रसंज्ञेन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। वन्दो श्री अरविन्द वन्दो श्री अरविन्द वन्दो श्री अरविन्द वन्दो श्री अरविन्द। वैकुंठ से आए प्रभु नरवेशधारी माधव मुरारी मुकुंद। वैकुंठ से आए प्रभु नरवेशधारी माधव मुरारी मुकुंद। वन्दो श्री अरविन्द वन्दो श्री अरविन्द। अंधकार में कंपित धरनी झलक उठी को आए ज्ञान धनुर से सेतु बांध कर लोक आलोक मिलाए। अंधकार में कंपित धरनी झलक उठी को आए ज्ञान धनुर से सेतु बांध कर लोक आलोक मिलाए। जगत विधाता आए कृपावश मिटाने सब दुख द्वंद। जगत विधाता आए कृपावश मिटाने सब दुख द्वंद। वन्दो श्री अरविन्द वन्दो श्री अरविन्द। झिलमिल झिलमिल बरसे नूरा, रिम झिम मोती, अति मानस से उतार लाए प्रभु रूपांतरकारी ज्योति। झिलमिल झिलमिल बरसे नूरा, रिम झिम मोती, अति मानस से उतार लाए प्रभु रूपांतरकारी ज्योति। रुन झुन अनहद बाजे, नव संगीत नव छंद। रुन झुन अनहद बाजे, नव संगीत नव छंद। जय जय श्री अरविंद, जय जय श्री अरविंद, जय जय श्री अरविंद, जय जय श्री अरविंद। मिटाने को अज्ञान अंधेरे, सत्य की ज्वाला आई, शक्ति बनी माँ लोकनाथ की, नया जुगांतर लाई। मिटाने को अज्ञान अंधेरे, सत्य की ज्वाला आई, शक्ति बनी माँ लोकनाथ की, नया जुगांतर लाई। झर झर बरसे सुधा, शक्ति शांति आनंद। झर झर बरसे सुधा, शक्ति शांति आनंद। नमो नमः अरविंद, 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 नमो नमः अरविंद। भज हरि पद पंकज जुगलम, भज हरि पद पंकज जुगलम। करुणा मधुकर मंजुल बिमलं, करुणा मधुकर मंजुल बिमलं। हरिपद पंकज जुगलम, भज हरिपद पंकज जुगलम, भज हरिपद पंकज जुगलम। करुणा मधुकर मंजुल बिमलं, करुणा मधुकर मंजुल बिमलं। हरिपद पंकज जुगलम, भज हरिपद पंकज जुगलम। जुगे जुगे आशी दुष्कृति नाशी, जुगे जुगे आशी दुष्कृति नाशी। कुरुते साजन पालन मथुराम, कुरुते साजन पालन भज हरिपदपङ्कजजुगलं भज हरिपदपङ्कजजुगलं धर्महानि जबे अधर्म जया भवे धर्महानि जबे अधर्म जया भवे अवतरसि तंकिल मनततलं संभवामि युगे युगे वचनं सफलं संभवामि युगे युगे वचनं सफलं हरिपदपङ्कजजुगलं भज हरिपदपङ्कजजुगलं करुणा मधुकर मञ्जुलविमलं करुणा मधुकर मञ्जुलविमलं हरिपदपङ्कजजुगलं भज हरिपदपङ्कजजुगलं भज हरिपदपङ्कजजुगलं O my mind, return to your actual home. It is within you. The world is foreign. Why become a foreigner and roam around when your home, your temple is within you? All elements, all subjects are meant to take you to the divine abode, which is within you. And you are so fascinated by their glitter, your soul is amused. Take the path of truth and never lose it. The light is there at the end of this road. Walking this path, you shall be united with your own self. O dear mind, return to your own abode, your own house, thyself. मनश्चल स्वीय निकेतनं संसार विदेश वैदेशिकावशे भ्रमसि कथम कारणं मनश्चल स्वीय निकेतनं संसार विदेश वैदेशिकावशे भ्रमसि कथम कारणं मनश्चल स्वीय निकेतनं विषया पञ्चकं तथा भूतगण सर्वे अनातिमीय कोऽपि न निज जन परप्रेम न कथा जतन चेतनं विस्मरसि आत्मा जनं मनश्चल स्वीय निकेतनं सत्यपथे मन कुरु आरोहणं सत्यपथे मन कुरु आरोहणं प्रेमलोकज्वलाश्चला अनुक्षणं तव तु सम्बलं भवतु पूर्णाखनम् अतीयातन सम्भोपनं मनश्चल स्वीय निकेतनं संसार विदेश वैदेशिकावशे भ्रमसि कथम कारणं मनश्चल स्वीय निकेतनं मनश्चल स्वीय निकेतनं. Namaskar, and I express my heartfelt gratitude to all of you for being here and enriching this environment. The chosen prayer this time is not one, but three prayers written by the Mother on May 2nd, May 3rd, and May 4th, 1914. The first prayer, written on May 2nd, is actually not a prayer. To me, it seems more like a revelation, an invitation, an invocation. The combination of the three prayers, the chosen title for this is Perfect Contemplation. The three chosen prayers being, the reason being, that in these three prayers, what I could figure out was that there is a kind of a path which the Mother is trying to put forth. When we begin the path of yoga, we begin with some misconceptions. Some conceptions, some mental conceptions are there. They may be misconceptions, they may be actual conceptions also. So there are some realizations, some little bit of steps that we start on this path with, on the spiritual path. And as we progress, we start realizing the presence of the divine is internalized, it becomes more and more. Nevertheless, it is still a presence. And this presence has to be established very strongly. And once the presence is there, the two things needed are contemplation, or one could say meditation upon the divine, or contemplation on the path or the divine. And then what the Mother says we cannot do without is the work. So just by contemplation, it is not enough. It is a yoga of transformation of life. And when we talk of transformation of life, we cannot leave out the work at all. All life is yoga. So let us begin with the first prayer. So this is a prayer which is actually a revelation, an invocation, an invitation to the infinite adventure of the divine. May 2nd, 1914. Beyond all human conceptions, even the most marvelous, beyond all human feelings, even the most sublime, beyond the most magnificent aspirations and the purest flights, beyond love, knowledge, and the oneness of being, I would enter into constant communion with Thee, O Lord. Free from all shackles, I shall be Thyself. It will be Thou who will see the world through this body. It will be Thou who wilt act in the world through this instrument. In me is the calm serenity of perfect certitude. So when we begin on the path or the journey of yoga, we have certain conceptions, as I said, certain ideas about what the divine path is, what the divine is, what are the realizations, what are the obstacles, and how good or difficult the path is, or how easy the path is. What would be the kind of an enlightenment that I would meet with? So all these are conceptions that we actually start when we embark on the spiritual path. These are some of the conceptions we actually start with. Now, these conceptions are necessarily conceptions of ignorance, but they are allowed, they are very much permitted, as Sri Aurobindo says, as lesser truths on the path. So they are very much allowed, because without these starting points or these conceptions, there would be no scaffolding. There would be no scaffolding on the path of the yoga. That is why maybe in the Indian thought, when we simply talk of prayer or thinking of the divine or praying to the God, we begin with we can begin with something as little as maybe a clay idol, We start seeing the divine and we start praying to the divine in the form of that clay idol, or maybe a picture, or maybe just an idea of that there is some supernatural power which is above us. So it could be as small as that. But nevertheless, that's very important. Even Sri Vivekananda also has said that these are basically primary aids, So the path is of course there, but at some point one starts, and that point could be anything. It could be a revelation, it could be a thing as simple as a picture. It could be a thing as simple as just a word heard from somewhere or by somebody. So the starting point of the journey, we have started on the path of the journey. We have caught hold of something which we believe is going to lead us further. But the idea is to move on. And whatever we see in this outer image, or maybe in this mold, or in this small structure that we think and we are praying to the divine as, so we have to move on, and then we have to establish the image of this within. So it has to become an inner truth for us. What we are seeing outside and what we are praying to outside, or what we are believing on the outside, it has to be internalized. And the more we do it, a time comes when it actually is internalized. It starts becoming an inner truth. It starts becoming a presence. But even that, the presence, once it is established, it is a sure shot sign. It is a very, very positive sign that yes, we are on the right path. And with this, the growth starts happening. And the only caution that the mother has said is that we should not get fixated on a particular step or on a particular stage. Okay, a little step, so we begin with an infant step and we move on. And we come to the presence which is now inside us, but we should not be becoming fixated on any particular idea or any particular step or at any particular plane. The idea is to progress. The idea is to move on till we have internalized this presence so much so that we now know that it is the divine. Okay? And we are able to tell the divine, we are able to speak to the divine and say, what I conceive of you, you are far more than that. You are far above that. So beyond all human conceptions, even the most marvelous, beyond all human feelings, even the most sublime, beyond the most magnificent aspirations and the purest flights, means higher levels, even when you reach the higher levels, beyond love, knowledge, and the oneness of being. So leave aside all feelings, all perceptions, realizations. They actually, once this presence starts becoming more and more, these conceptions, these realizations, they pale into the marvelous marvel of marvels, the glory of glories. One starts realizing that, one starts going beyond that. As in the Upanishads also, it says that once you behold that golden Purusha in that sheath, it is just a state of delight. Raso Vaisaha. So it is a state of delight, and all words fail, all feelings seem very little when you reach that stage. All speech becomes a limitation, all descriptions become a travesty, all definitions become a blasphemy. So this is the next stage, the starting point, and then we have reached the stage where we know that what we are perceiving of the divine is far more than that. The divine is, and we become speechless with delight. It is just the delight that is there. But as the mother says, we should not get stuck onto even this delight stage of delight. We have to move ahead. So the wonderful part of this journey is that once the presence has been internalized, and we are also in a state where we know that the divine is much more than what I in my limited vision am perceiving, or I in my limited vision am realizing. But what more wonderful thing can be done if the divine takes over now? Once this thought, once we are into this kind of a state, the divine is actually taking over. The divine is actually taking over us, and what better state can be than this? That the divine is doing everything. So the divine is seeing through you. The divine is using this instrument to do the work which the divine wants to do. What better stage? And how much of a relaxation is that? Constantly we are perturbed by thoughts. Our thoughts disturb us. So the moment this kind of a realization comes, there is a very strong awareness in us. And that awareness of the divine is the awareness that I feel within me. So I know myself as an awareness now. And once I know that, I also become aware of this awareness in others that I'm meeting, the people that I'm meeting, the things that I'm seeing. So the divine, it's a kind of a, you can say it's a kind of a geometric progression. The growth is like a geometric progression, or it is a kind of a scattering that takes place. You start seeing the divine in everything. You know that the divine is working through you, so the divine is also working through others. So there is a kind of an instant recognition of the divine everywhere, and this is such a wonderful state to have. Now, Sri Aurobindo, in his book called Savitri, some of you may have read it. So in book 1, canto 3, there is a line where he talks about the journey of the psychic being from birth to birth, from life to life. And once this journey progresses, there comes a stage where there is a kind of a, you can say, staticness and also a dynamism. Okay? There is a static state and a dynamic state where the person is above all these lives. Okay? And what happens here is, so when the soul enters this kind of a stage, there is a static, you can say a static oneness and a dynamic oneness which is working together. And once this stage is reached, then there is an expression, the covert divine starts expressing itself through this body, through this mind that we call ourselves, through this person that we call ourselves. So the covert divine starts expressing itself. Now, I can tell you a little story about Surdas. Most of you must have heard of Surdas ji, the great poet. So once he was blind, and once a lot of the villagers got around him and they started poking, making fun of him, said, let's see, people say that he's such an enlightened soul, he's blind. So every day they used to dress up the deity with different clothes. So one day they decided, and Surdas ji would actually describe how they had decorated the deity, how they had, put the flowers or decorated with jewels or whatever it is. So he was blind, but he could actually see. Okay, so he had reached that kind of a stage where the divine was actually working through him, and he could actually see. Without having eyes, he was able to see. So the people, just to see how much enlightened he is, or whether he's actually telling the truth or not. So one day they decided not to put any decorations or any clothes on the deity. And they asked, now you describe, आज बताइए कैसा है, कैसे हैं श्री कृष्ण. तो सूरदास जी बोले, and he says, आज तो प्रभु नंगा ही नंगा. Means he knew, he could see, he could feel, So this is how the divine could also, this is a story, maybe a heightened story, but nevertheless it is pointing to the fact that once the divine starts working through you, then everything the divine is only taking over. Okay? And the path becomes very, very simple and easy. You just have to let go and let be. This stage, of course, can be reached only when there is also a complete annulment of the ego. As long as the ego is there, we will not be able to perceive the divine completely and let it act through us. So this stage, when there is a complete dissolution of the ego, and you know that whatever is only for the divine is there, the divine is working through me, and now the divine only will take care of me in becoming a perfect instrument for the divine manifestation. What a wonderful stage. Free from the shackles I shall be thyself. It will be thou who will see the world through this body. It will be thou who will act in the world through this instrument. In me is the calm serenity of perfect certitude. There is no more stage, not a stage that is more wonderful than this, more relaxing than this, and there is a certitude. This is a very strong statement made by the mother. In me is the calm serenity of perfect certitude. And when the calmness is there, when the perfect silence is there, then all things what the divine wills you to be, you will be. Whatever the divine wills you to do, you will do. Because it is the divine who is working through you. In the next prayer, May 3rd, 1914, Mother says, O divine love, supreme knowledge, perfect oneness, at every moment of the day I call to thee, so as to be nothing but thou alone. May this instrument serve thee, conscious of being an instrument, and may all my consciousness, merged in thine, contemplate all things with thy divine vision. O Lord, Lord, grant that thy sovereign power may manifest. Grant that thy work may be accomplished, and thy servitor be consecrated solely to thy service. So here is a prayer she is making, that let me reach this stage. May my whole being be consecrated to the divine, for the divine, and by the divine. May the I disappear. Here she's talking of the ego. May the I disappear forevermore. May only the instrument remain. So here is a complete dissolution of the ego. The being is totally consecrated, so much so that the being also knows that it is the divine now who is using this body for the different works. It is the divine who is guiding the mind. It is the divine who is making the senses perceive what is required in the path. So the divine and the divine through and through. Now after we have reached a stage like this, what is needed for us to stabilize this stage now? There is work which is required. It is a transformation of life. All life is yoga. So we cannot do away without the work. And if we look very closely, we will see that a great part of the work that we are needed to do is from the starting point from the conceptualization, from the realization, to making that realization stay within you, the presence. So there is immense work that is required. And immense work, energy and effort is also required in coming to a stage where the ego can be dissolved totally. So the first stage is also, there is a lot of work through and through. We cannot do away without the work. So in this prayer, in the third prayer, May 4th, the mother is actually addressing how to bridge the antagonism between contemplation and work, the work that needs to be done. Most of the people who embark on this journey, we are so much surrounded by certain terms: meditation, concentration, upliftment. So we get so hooked on to these, and once we start practicing meditation and all, there is a very general mistake that people make, is that through meditation everything will be done. That is not, the mother has strongly advised against it. Meditation, contemplation is very important in order to figure out the steps that you need to take. What are the steps that you need to take on the path of the yoga? But the work has to be done. You cannot do away with the work. So here in this prayer, the mother is actually talking about bridging the gap between contemplation and the work that needs to be done. So both are required. Both are very, very necessary. If nirvana is the aim, that you want to attain nirvana, yes, then you can do away without the work also. You can sit in one place and you can meditate for years and years and you can attain nirvana. But nirvana is not the aim over here. This is the yoga of life. This is the yoga of work. And yoga is always for the larger good, larger benefit. So immense work is required. Okay. Just by realization, just by meditation, just by contemplation, the work will still be left undone. So we have to plunge into the work. And the mother herself is suggesting the way. Be in the act and be still above the act. Any act, any work which is done with full consciousness of the divine, with the intention that whatever the divine wills should take place through me, may I become the perfect instrument for that work. And automatically the work that is required will be done. But there has to be a personal effort of the sadhak. There has to be an upliftment of the consciousness, widening of the consciousness. And there has to be a great sense of impersonality. That means which comes with the dissolution of the ego. So the wideness, impersonality, and also plasticity. The more we contemplate on the divine, the more the consciousness starts widening. And the effort of the sadhak is required now with this heightened or this widened consciousness. What is to be done? And that again, that widening of the consciousness again is offered to the mother. And the work that is required to be done will be done through you. So this is the attitude, this is the perfect attitude that will make sure that we become the perfect instruments of the divine. Whatever the divine wills to be done through us, it will be done. And also the work that we are talking of here is not the work, not our professional work, Somebody is an architect or building bridges or an engineer. So this is not the work. Work is here, the range of work is very, very wide. It starts from the time you wake up, the breathing, the daily course, brushing your teeth, wearing clothes, going to office, packing bags, cooking, anything that we are doing. That needs to be done with full consciousness. The mother, somewhere she has given an example that the work is so important and the work needs to be done with full consciousness. And when we start putting that consciousness into the work, we should aim to reach that perfection that is required of us. Even when we are sweeping a floor or mopping a floor. Mother says even when you are sweeping a floor, make sure that you make the room so clean as she compares it to the cleanliness inside an aircraft. If you see an aircraft, it's spick and span. So even when you're sweeping, try to sweep the room in such a manner that there is not a speck of dirt anywhere. So this is the kind of consciousness and this is the kind of an effort that the mother is talking of. Sarva Karvani means all work. You cannot leave out any work. Okay? May 4, 1914. To be merged both in thee and in thy work, to be no longer a limited individuality, to become the infinitude of thy forces manifesting through one point, to be freed from all shackles and all limitations, to rise above all restrictive thought, to act while remaining outside the action, to act with and for individuals while seeing only oneness, the oneness of thy love, thy knowledge, thy being. O my Divine Master, Eternal Teacher, Soul Reality, dispel all darkness in this aggregate thou hast formed for thy service, thy manifestation in the world. Realize in it that supreme consciousness which will awaken the same consciousness everywhere. Oh, no longer to see appearances which incessantly change, always to contemplate in everything and everywhere only thy immutable oneness. O Lord, all my being cries to thee in an irresistible call. Wilt thou not grant that I may become thyself in my integral consciousness? Since in truth I am thou and thou art I. To be merged both in thee and thy work. Here, to also contemplate on the divine and also on the work that needs to be done. To be no longer a limited individuality. That means leave aside the ego. The ego, as Sri Aurobindo says, ego was the helper, ego is the bar. Ego is required in the initial stages. And to establish yourself first as an individual, the self, and then work through the self to see the same self in others. So basically ego is a mental construction, but it is a tool, it is an aid, it is a very important tool. But there comes a time in sadhana when one has to let go of this I, that I am the doer, this is my work, I should get credit for this. So all these things have to go away. And only the work that needs to be done as an instrument of the divine should be the thing that should be of prime importance. So the self, there has to be a total impersonality, total giving up of the ego, total giving up of the feeling that I am the doer. Instead, whatever work is being done through you, it is the divine who is guiding. So once this dissolution of the ego is there, then only we can reach this kind of a work that is required of us. To become the infinitude of thy forces manifesting through one point means widening of the consciousness. An immense widening of the consciousness. We are the self, we have established ourselves as the self, the point
through which the divine now wants to do some work for the divine manifestation, for the divine will to take place. So it has to be all given up. The self, the feeling of the self that I am the doer, the pride, the vanity, everything has to first go. Even when we are doing good, there is also a kind of a ego which is there when we are, when we are doing good things that according to the worldly beliefs that we are doing, we are donating or whatever it is, still there is a sort of an ego that I am donating, I am doing this, I am making this offering. So this also has to completely dissolve, this also has to completely go. There are different types of egos, very strange kind of egos are also there, The lamenting part, oh divine, why you are not coming to me, why you are not helping me, why have you left me? This is also a kind of it is a kind of an ego. Okay, maybe it comes at a later stage when you are totally, you are talking to the divine and then you are saying, but it is still nevertheless a kind of an ego. So the total, you can say the total annulment of I, me, myself has to first be given up. To be freed from all shackles and all limitations. Ego is binding. There are many other forces, the mind, the thoughts, the persistent thoughts which they also bind. The restrictive thoughts, the rigid ideas, the very rigid beliefs that we believe in. So free us from that. To act while remaining outside the action. This is very important. As we are working, we are engrossed in the work. Somewhere in Savitri, Satyavan is telling Savitri, is telling her that when I found the world, I lost the self. And when I found the self, I lost the world. Means when I'm meditating, when I'm contemplating the divine, I am not so mindful of the work that needs to be done. And when I get engrossed in the work, I leave aside the contemplation part of it on the divine. So it's a state when we are working, when we are doing something very consciously, and when the presence has been established in us, it is the divine who is working. We are working for it is the divine who is working for the divine through a divine which the divine has established within me. So it is a wonderful state. But often it happens is, या तो हम मेडिटेशन ही करते रह जाते हैं और जब हम काम करते हैं तो हम बिल्कुल ही भूल जाते हैं. So, and when we are doing that kind of a work where we are forgetting the divine and we are doing it without, consciously we are not doing it, then what happens is, then the ego is very naughty, it springs up. The work is being done, I am the doer, I am doing it. But the moment you do the work consciously with full consciousness on the divine, there is no I. It is only thou. Thy work, thou art. Thou art I and I art thou. So these will become the predominant feelings, and the moment you start getting these predominant feelings, our feelings are indicators. Our feelings are actually indicators. So once you start getting this feeling, yes, we are actually somewhere, we are doing the work consciously. And so when we are meditating, maybe we start neglecting the work part of it that needs to be done. We are so engrossed in the meditation, and there is also a kind of a laziness in that, I think. Once you only start meditating and contemplating, doing it for hours and hours and hours, a lot of work also needs to be done. We are living in the physical world, and the physical world is also a very, very strong ground for the consciousness to widen. So we start neglecting that. So when we are contemplating, we forget the work, and when we are working, we are forgetting that there is a divine consciousness that we need to be conscious of. So this is perhaps what she means by saying that to be in the act and be above the act. Okay? Not take yourself to be the doer. The work needs to be done perfectly, and if we are doing it with a consciousness, full consciousness, then the work that needs to be done will be done. To act with and for individuals while seeing only oneness. The biggest advantage of contemplating the divine and meditating upon the divine while working is this, that this oneness that we are talking of, what is this oneness? Now, if we look at ourselves and if we look at others, if we consider that everything in this world is energy, okay, but there is a core, okay, which is the divine. And from that divine, the consciousness has got funneled into me, you, him, her, everybody. And what are the tools which have been given to us? The tools given to us are the body, the mind, the feelings and the emotions. Okay? So using this, the work is to be done. So this oneness, this consciousness, everybody is consciousness, everything is consciousness in fact. Even a stone, a material object has consciousness, but the degree of manifestation is different, you know. So at many years ago, I was attending a satsang and somebody asked the question that why is shivling hota na, that why is it always made of stone? Generally we see it made of stone only. So the very beautiful answer which came out was that when, I'll say it in Hindi as he said it, जब पत्थर में चेतना आ जाती है तो पत्थर भी शिव हो जाते हैं. It's such a simple and such a beautiful, you know, so I thought I'll share it with you. So basically everything is consciousness. So, and this consciousness has got funneled out into individuals, into different beings, into plants, into animals, everything. Okay? But it is the same consciousness. And it is the same awareness. We often identify ourselves with the body and the mind because we are working through the body and the mind is overactive with thoughts and it takes over us totally. So we start identifying our personality or our person as being only the body and the mind. But it is much beyond that. We are consciousness, we are awareness. All that is required of us is just to be aware that we are awareness, we are consciousness. And the moment this awareness comes, every thought, every, you can say, conflicting thought or any rigid ideas, they just fall away. If you could just do a small practice, maybe आप 30 seconds के लिए अभी कर लीजिए. If you can just close, all of you can just close your eyes. This we often hear in yoga classes में कराते हैं, but it has got a very strong effect. If we can just close our eyes, and if we can just become aware of everything inside this room, all sounds, and if you can just visualize, if any thoughts are coming, don't stop, just visualize them. So what is that? That is aware of these sounds? What is that? That is aware of the thoughts. It is the awareness which is you. And the more we practice this kind of letting go and just be, we also start seeing others as the same consciousness, as the same awareness. So this is the oneness that the mother is talking of. The work is not only for me or for you. It is for everybody. It is for all things. It is for the divine manifestation. And the moment we start becoming aware of this, then there is a kind of a very, you can feel that kind of relief, you know. And all things, once we enter this kind of a stage, all things that need to be done through you will be done, provided you are in this state of awareness and consciousness. will be done. And this is the perfect stage where you become the perfect instrument for the divine without any resistance from the mind, body, senses, outside circumstances. Everything that needs to be done will find a way through you. And we become the perfect instruments of the divine. The oneness of thy love. There is a very strong, you can say, Mother talks of a very strong love as being a very, very strong and powerful and mighty vibration. It is attractive, it is an attraction, okay? It is the love that you feel for others. For example, you like somebody very much and you appreciate something in that person. It is basically the self which is aware of something. You like something within you, you love something within you, and the same thing you are appreciating in the other person. So it is the self appreciating the self in another self. So it is that kind of oneness that the Mother is perhaps talking of over here. The self seeing the self in another self. So there is no difference. The consciousness is the same. We are just channels for the divine work. That's all. And it is the same consciousness, the same divine in everything that is working. There is no difference. This is the oneness perhaps the Mother is talking of. The oneness of thy love, thy knowledge, thy being. O my divine Master, eternal teacher, soul reality, dispel all darkness in this aggregate, us, aggregate of mind, ideas, body, senses, situations surrounding us, aggregate. Dispel all darkness in this aggregate thou hast formed for thy service. We are meant only for the service of the divine. And the more we are forgetful of this, the more resistance we face in our life and the more turbulences happen in our life. And then we say, Pata nahi mere saath hi kyun ho raha hai aisa? But because of this resistance that we are only offering to the working of the divine, we are so fixated in our ideas. So there is a resistance which is within us. So that resistance has to go first. Dispel all darkness in this aggregate thou hast formed for thy service, thy manifestation in the world. Realize in it that supreme consciousness which will awaken the same consciousness everywhere. So realize, make that presence so strong, widen that consciousness within ourselves first. Once that is done, we will see the consciousness in the others, and there will be no difference. Oh, no longer to see appearances which incessantly change, always to contemplate in everything and everywhere only thy immutable oneness. O Lord, all my being cries to thee in an irresistible call. Wilt thou not grant that I may become thyself in my integral consciousness? Here she is talking of the integral consciousness. Consciousness which surrounds everything, everybody, every part of the being. Since in truth, I am thou and thou art I. So we emerge from her, we are formed, we are created from her, and we see her and we go back to her. And in the process, a lot of the divine work, what she wills, gets done. So this is the journey. The entire journey of maybe the creation and merging with the divine again. And in this creation, in this starting point and this culmination, the divine work is getting done. So all one needs to do is, like Sri Aurobindo says, I am not the bhakta, I am not the jnani, I am just like a leaf in his breath, floating in his breath. A stage comes when whatever the divine wills, the divine will anyway happen. वो तो होगा. But if we are ready to be instruments, the whole process gets expedited. It speeds up for us. Those who know it can join in. And after this, I have selected bhajans based on Krishna. So, Ram naam ghan sham naam, Shiv naam simar din raat, Hari naam simar din raat. Ram naam ghan sham naam, Shiv naam simar din raat, Hari naam simar din raat. जन्म सफल तू कर ले अपना, जन्म सफल तू कर ले अपना, मान ले मेरी बात, हरि नाम सिमर दिन रात. जन्म सफल तू कर ले अपना, जन्म सफल तू कर ले अपना, मान ले मेरी बात, हरि नाम सिमर दिन रात. धन्य धन्य वो भूमि जहाँ पर लिया प्रभु ने अवतार, धन्य है वो स्थान जहाँ प्रभु प्रेम का हो प्रचार. धन्य वो तीरथ जिनकी यात्रा, धन्य वो तीरथ जिनकी यात्रा, मुक्ति की है बात, हरि नाम सिमर दिन रात. राम नाम घन श्याम नाम, शिव नाम सिमर दिन रात, हरि नाम सिमर दिन रात. काम क्रोध मोह लोभ छोड़ कर नाम प्रभु का गाले, मानुष तन जो पाया उसका सच्चा लाभ उठा ले. जीवन है अनमोल सी धारा, जीवन है अनमोल सी धारा, पल पल बीतत जात, हरि नाम सिमर दिन रात, हरि नाम सिमर दिन रात. राम नाम घन श्याम नाम, शिव नाम सिमर दिन रात, हरि नाम सिमर दिन रात, हरि नाम सिमर दिन रात, हरि नाम सिमर दिन रात. Often you will find Krishna, Radha and the divine love being discussed in that. In this, how, if you focus on the words, you will find that words like Gulal, Abir, Panchavishay and all, they are coming in this song, and it is a beautiful description of how the universe, the Brahmand, was created by the Lord, and it is compared to how Holi is played, the divine Holi. कैसी
होरी रचाई कन्हाई कैसी होरी रचाई, अचरज लगी ओ ना जाई कैसी होरी रचाई। 5 विषय की गुलाल बना के, 5 विषय की गुलाल बना के, बीच ब्रह्मांड उड़ाई। 14 भुवन रस भर भर सिंचो, 14 भुवन रस भर भर सिंचो, याते करूं बहुताई, होरी अभी बनी ना बनाई कैसी होरी रचाई कन्हाई कैसी होरी रचाई। अक्षर भर पिच कारी डारी, उड़ेल ज्ञान गंग बहाई। छिटक छिटक प्रेम ब्रह्मांड फैलो, छिटक छिटक प्रेम ब्रह्मांड फैलो, याते करूं बहुताई, प्रेम रस होरी है बनाई कैसी होरी रचाई कन्हाई कैसी होरी रचाई। तन मन पे हाय मोरे तन मन पे मन हर ने रंग दियो डार, तन मन पे मन हर ने रंग दियो डार। गात सखी पल में मोरा भिगोया, गात सखी गात सखी पल में मोरा भिगोया, फेर दियो हार रंग दियो डार। तन मन पे हाय मोरे तन मन पे मन हर ने रंग दियो डार। गात सखी पल में मोरा भिगोया, गात सखी पल में मोरा भिगोया, फेर दियो हार रंग दियो डार। तन मन पे हाय मोरे तन मन पे मन हर ने रंग दियो डार। मैंने पिचकारी भरी शाम गए भाग, उनके इस ढंग से सखी दिल में लगी आग। मैंने पिचकारी भरी शाम गए भाग, उनके इस ढंग से सखी दिल में लगी आग। पीछे से छुप के आए आए पीछे से छुप के आए, मस्त लियो चाल रंग दियो डार। तन मन पे हाय मोरे तन मन पे मन हर ने रंग दियो डार। मैं क्या से क्या हो गई हूँ कुछ न सकी जान, नैनों में नैन डाल लूट लियो प्राण। होली फिर गाने लगा सखीरी होली फिर गाने लगा, फिर गए कतार रंग दियो डार। तन मन पे हाय मोरे तन मन पे मन हर ने रंग दियो डार। तन मन पे मन हर ने रंग दियो डार। तन मन पे मन हर ने रंग दियो डार।